Hello, this is Colin Dawson with Lockdown Movie Reviews, and I'm here to tell you about the movie Death on a Nile. This is a wonderful intellectual movie that, if you want to go to something that has a story and detective work and everything else in it, it is a wonderful movie. It's filled with everything that you would ever want: twists and turns, surprise victims, murder, and mayhem, all in the bright mystique of the Nile. Granted, this is taken from an actual book from an author who has about 40 in the series, and it's one of those that has even been used by spies and others out there for reasons and methodologies. But besides the history of the book and the writer of it, this is a very well acted, well thought out, well choreographed situation. I will say that the actors owned all their parts. There was some problems, I think, in makeup and in wardrobe, and maybe a little bit of the CGI seemed a little bit corny for some of the underwater scenes when they were dredging the area, with how serious everything seemed up above. The acting, spot on. Couldn't really ask for a better way to do it. But I will say, all of them seem to be very familiar with the book. And if you read the book and know the book series, while there is a little bit of a feel that it's a high school play, and this is the national winner in a way, acting it out on something for C-SPAN. I will say it does feel a little bit like that. I did have my family take me through a lot of it. This one and the Oriental Express. And I will say, to me, it kind of feels a little bit like another Shakespeare movie. When I say it's something that you should go and see if you've never seen or heard about the book, and you would walk away saying, it's a good movie. It's a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. I like having that thing where I can deduce what happened, learn a little history about the Nile and everything, see some of the extravagance of old lords and everything else, and how you could take things, if you were older and knew some of the older stuff at the time, straight out of headlines and put it in and make it into a book that would parody real life. Do I think that the actors are necessarily in a high school situation out there for it? No, they're working professionals. But it's a one that I've had go around in my head over and over. It's a very bright and actually uplifting movie, even with the heartache and a jilted lover. It is a good, fun movie, and I would give it personally, for the different actors and loving them so much for it all. And the actor who does Hugo is absolutely spot on, and his flashbacks to and from and everything really do hold everything. And in a way, you can see that there's some actresses that in their acting, they actually do steal the stage. And then when one of them dies, it's like they're the main character. And then the other one comes in, and it's like they take it and they raise it a bit more. I will say the actresses really did bring it, while the others felt slightly flat until they got into major acting back and forth as Hugo would draw out their emotions and everything. And in a way, I will say it's a bit of the cinematography. It breezes over the characters until they're really in the interrogation area, even if they're a main character of it. And then it's taken away. And I understand that's the directing style of it. While a lot of people are used to reality TV shows where you don't focus on the individual and everything else, and you focus on these big open crowd areas and looking at all the things they do around there and their idiosyncrasies. My brothers kind of kept me, honestly, schooled me on that and everything else, as well as several people that I know that were in criminology. And I'm just going, it's a different era, it's a different time. So take that with you when you go and see that it's the old way of a detective. Rather than CSI and viewing people in a large setting to see everything out there, it's asking them questions back and forth, finding the one little fact that pulls the entire story apart, and they know that they're had with it, irregardless. And it comes from a time back when it's like, oh no, you should have kept your mouth shut. You could have beaten that. You could just go in there and be like, he didn't have forensics with him, he didn't have this, he didn't have that, and all of these other things. But no, you could basically see in the old days, it's like, well, I wasn't perfect enough for the crime, so had to confess. And then I won't try and say exactly how it ended, but it ended in a very dramatic flare. Things were very interesting throughout the entire movie, and it really did hold my intellectual interests. Now, while I know an intellectual movie is not really out there for people to be looked at, and while I know that there will be people that will say these actors did very good, these actresses did very well, and I think they do. I think they excel at each movie they go into. Gal Gadot has truly seasoned as an actress, and I think she still has some more that she can actually gain and add to it. I think that the acting cast that came there will continue to blossom, and they did bring very well seasoned actors and actresses to the movie. Now, while I'd say, oh, this is a great movie, I know it's not for everyone. So I will say, go and see it if you want to have a good intellectual movie. Most people, I'd say, out there from it, it would be probably a 7 out of 10. And it would be a solid 1 thumbs up. Maybe 1 thumbs up and like, come on over. But I would, if you're not into something that's an intellectual detective movie and don't understand the older ways of doing things for intellectual detective work, and it's a very clean movie, and it's a very bright movie, uplifting, and has quick turnarounds in it. One may have to actually look at and say, pass on it. If you're wanting something that's just going to be a standard old police movie or detective movie, this is highly different from it. And I would say go and see it if you want something different from that. This is Colin Dawson with Lockdown Movie Reviews. Death on a Nile.